Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Waking up for a very early Thursday morning over here in Helsinki, Finland. The last actual video that I'll be recording from Helsinki, Finland before I move later today. And without further ado, I always want to be wishing you well. Want to be wishing you the best, the happiest of the happiest thirsty Thursday that you can ever have in your good old cryptocurrency life. And it goes without saying that also tonight I will not be back on a live stream. In fact, I'll have to wait until likely tomorrow when I can get back on. And I do apologize for the no video and the very unoptimal sound quality that we have going on right here, but thank you for bearing with me. And with that said, let's waste no more time getting into the live stream right over here and watching what Bitcoin's been doing. And once again, my charts have disappeared, and there they are. Welcome back, Mr. Charts. And Bitcoin getting that continuation that we were looking for yesterday. Overall, this is why I use moving averages, because they keep you in the trade, and it's been no more complicated than this. Got the golden cross right over here, the green 55, the purple 200 above all major moving averages. As you know, as soon as it kind of salvaged itself above this yellow 21, that to me was indication that we were reaccumulating and we are getting ready to move onwards and upwards as these two moving averages diverge away from each other, telling you that the strength of trend is actually strengthening to the upside. More importantly, on top of that, yesterday what I really wanted to speak about was, every once in a while I use these very low period moving averages. So this is a 9 right here, represented by the yellow moving average, and when I do have the golden cross, I'll look at this to get an actual intraday idea of where the trend lies, right? And yesterday, while everyone was getting all scared about the about the Binance news and the hack and whatnot, all we did was just come back down, test the 9 exponential, and then straight onwards and upwards. So to me, that is a very powerful response. And once again said, hey, this is the time to be to just ride the trend, just be long. And overall, Bitcoin kind of played it out just more and more and more. And I do believe that our first target came about just a few bucks shy of getting hit. I think my first target's somewhere around 6,200. Let's see where the volume profile shows this one. Yeah, you can see that we just kind of took our first stab into this more critical area. However, I do think that it likely gets a little bit of a try higher before we see any sort of legitimate pushback. But overall, at this point in time, we're so fucking close that I'm actually taking profit on my longs, not necessarily adding or anything like that. Looking at my derivative right over here, I think it's very important to be transparent. I did take profit on some of my longs by selling more of these June contracts, but overall I'm still a little bit net long, although like I said, because I'll be traveling most of the day and setting stuff up, won't be able to be too attentive. I did want to close some of that off as soon as we got a little bit above 6,000 to lock some in. Anyways, with that said, I do want to get on into the lower time frames, because that's where all the action's been going down. I mean, the higher time frames, it's the action's been going on the higher time frames as well. Don't get me wrong, but the thing is that with the higher time frames, it's just it's like we could have said the same thing for the past week. It's just it just looks generally bullish, and that's really all there is to do. Anyways, hourly right over here, you can see that we have had a very constructive move to the upside. If I put back on my drawing tools, we actually boosted above and took out this trend line, this rising trend line that we've been living under ever since early April over here for the first time in well over a month. And to me, this is like a short, a very slight change of behavior on the lower time frame. So overall, consolidating above this trend line to me says that we're likely to try a little bit higher, and this should become a base around this 59.50-ish area, somewhere in this region. Actually, I'll put in a nice horizontal, or I'll just move this horizontal up. In fact, I do want to talk about this horizontal for a second here. This horizontal was here for a reason, to give you actually a second chance to buy this breakout. I'm not really sure. I wasn't awake when this happened. This was 2 a.m. my time, so I was definitely sleeping, or at least trying to sleep, and looks like we actually just came back down, retested it really, really well, and bought back up immediately. We've seen this so many times for breakouts, and now what happens? Well, just move it up a little bit more, and I'll be looking for this area to be a little bit of a pivot around 59.50 to 59.60-ish area. So overall, this is very low time frame type bullshit. If Bitcoin, were to smash down through this area, that would be a change behavior, and likely do come back down and test 5,800. But right now, I don't really think that that's what's happening. I think that we're probably going to get a little bit more continuation. But remember that the meat on this trade, I would say, is getting very, 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 very close to an end. But while we are here, let's go through all the lower time frames. We do see hourly stocks actually down right now, which have been really good at getting the price action. We do see hourly RSIs and making any sort of bearish divergence. No, it's not. It's looking constructive, looking fine, but could very easily pull back down to the 21. Again, I do think that would be a nice little base. Anywhere within this region is fine. Let's go over here, the 3 hour, which also has been getting price action very well. Very good close on the 3 hour, just walking its way up. Very, very powerful, very, very strong, very, very erect. We do see 3 hour Stochs still headed up, still headed north. We do see 3 hour RSI looking completely fine to me as well. Looking like it probably wants some more continuation. 4 hour, same thing. 4 hour Stochs crossing back to the upside. 4 hour Jewel is going to be taking out this area. And again, if you do have access to the Jewel, whenever you see a very very aggressive upward slope like that, your signals are not going to play out. Those are not to be considered signals. I mean, if anything, it's like a long signal because you can see that the light blue is getting so fucking intense. Looking at the 4 hour RSI, again, no real problems there. Just looks to me like a healthy move. Going on over into the medium time frames now, we got 8 hour, which is going to be closing the next 3 hours and 25 minutes. Looking like it's likely to have a pretty damn good close. Anything above 6,000, I would consider very, 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 very good. We're gonna get those 8 hour Stochs still headed up. 8 hour RSI looking fine. Let's go over to the 12 hour now. 12 hour Stochs back up and at them. And again, this is kind of what we were talking about yesterday with the Stochs kind of coming down for the last few days while price action moves up. And again, that just allows the oscillator to reset as price action moves higher and higher. So and also with regards to the RSI, I'm sure a lot of people are calling this bearish divergence the other day. No, this was not. Well, it was bearish divergence for a second, but got bought back on up. And usually when I get bearish divergence right over here, I want to see a retest of the 21. We got the retest of the 21, but look how well it's bought up. And this is once again just a sign of strength. Whenever you see this sort of stuff, that is bullish. Just like a few months ago when you'd see like a spike up and then it gets sold into immediately, that would be bearish. Well, this is just the opposite but equal behavior as we see Bitcoin just kind of slowly but surely push its way forwards. Now let's get back on over to our Bitstamp chart, and I want to go over what I was putting the most weight on yesterday, and that's a 2-day dildo time frame. And we definitely closed above the 200 simple right here. It's currently at around 57.90. That's going to likely become a bigger base as well as the 200 simple does start to. It's really lost its negative slope. It's pretty much flat now. So if Bitcoin does come back down to 5,800, that would be the next big base from a macro perspective. So we have 5,800, then we have 5,350 to 5,400 right over here, and then like 4,950 down around here. Those are the three big areas to be aware of, the three big pivots, I'd say. And right now, Bitcoin living beautifully, gloriously above all of them. In fact, look at this. Going back to 2014, 2015, Bitcoin was not able to take out the 200 simple until it actually, fully bucked the trend and was gaining its bullish momentum for the next 3 years. I mean, that is very, 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 very powerful. So I think a lot of people are probably asking themselves, did they miss the boat or anything like that? No. If you're a long-term type-minded person and you believe in Bitcoin or whatever your favorite pet altcoin is, it's one of those things where don't let the charts, don't let time fool you. It's just a trick of the mind. And overall, Bitcoin, if you really believe in this long term, this, you're looking at probably a lot more. You're probably looking at a lot more than just like a $3,000 move. Although $3,000 move definitely worthwhile. But if you're super long term, I think you're probably aware of what Bitcoin is capable of doing. We do see 2-day Stochs gaining momentum on the in the critical zone as well. Bulls taking control and keeping control. More importantly, this was again one of the reasons why I believe that we were going to break this one to the upside. And now we're kind of just having follow through on that. So again, I really want to spend some time speaking about the beauty of using these higher time frames, just because it makes it a lot easier for yourself. And while we have been talking about these trade ideas for the last really like the last, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks, I'd start to get bullish right over here. It takes time for it to play out, but it does play out typically, and that's kind of what I wanted to show. So again, a little bit of patience goes a long way. Let's look at the 2-day RSI. We do see 2-day RSI. It's going to be very easy to create some divergence here, but we need to confirm a local top first, and it's not happening anytime soon. And that's just a factual statement, because we'd have to first put in a reversal dildo on the highs and then have follow through on top of that. So we just got a new fresh 2-day dildo right over here. It would take at least like half a week to a week, on like the most aggressive move. Looking at 3-day. 3-day Stokes still headed up there, again making me a little bit cautious. So like I said, while this trade has come through beautifully, I would be, I'd be more protective here of your gains. So for the people who have been getting long and taking advantage of these moves, I don't think that this is the time to be greedy right now. Now, do I think that this can run another couple $100? Yeah, definitely. I mean, my target from the beginning was 62 to 6,400, which is kind of a big range. In fact, I'd maybe synthesize that down and say like 6,300, give or take a few bucks. But looking at something like this, I mean, Bitcoin does not like to stay in this area for too long, so I would be protective of that. People are getting very, very exuberant right now, seeing a lot of people FOMOing, seeing a lot of people getting caught by their own emotions. That's usually the time that we're setting up for a, or getting ready for a major pullback. But like I said, on the 3-day, it's still, I do think that we have some more meat on the bones here. Speaking of getting exuberant, we can go look at the Fear and Greed Index, which we're actually taking out of 69. Beautiful number. Absolutely best number possible, and that is a far cry away of what we've seen for the past year. Actually, you do see that with the Fear and Greed Index for the past year, when Bitcoin was in the heavy grips of the bear market, we were basically creating lower highs on this on this oscillator, and each and every time that it got above about a 50, that was calling your major tops. This was your 12,000 double top in February. This was your 10,000 top in May, 8,400 top in August, 73 in September, 6,000 in November, and ever since then we've actually kind of broken out of that, and you've seen that we've really spent a lot of time within this range, which tells me that from a sentiment standpoint, we really are changing around. Bitcoin's resilience in this area is different. It's almost like how Bitcoin was stuck in the more dregs over here. Well, over here, it's more in the more neutral to slightly optimistic territory. So from a longer term perspective, we are seeing things change around from like the underlying market dynamics, which speaking of, let's go check out the longs and shorts. We have shorts still adding at 32,500 open shorts versus 18,500 open longs. We have less than 3,000 these guys hedged now. So these shorts are actually uncovering their positions, if anything, and remaining naked short. We have the most naked shorts that we've seen in a very long time at 29,500 open naked shorts versus 18,500 open longs. So that is a great imbalance. And remember, a lot of these people getting short, not at the best prices. If we go over here to the daily on the shorts chart on Finex, we can actually get an idea of where a lot of these people getting in. And ever since about the 22nd of April, it's been shorts up and away. And if we go on over into price action onto Finex, I mean, that was, people have been adding shorts all the way from here to where we are currently. So again, a lot of people underwater, and that does offer up the chance for what's it called, a good old squeeze, or basically just a stop punt, or I'd imagine that a lot of these people probably have stops somewhere a little bit above 6,000, and on top of that, well, maybe not on 6,000 on like a real exchange, not Finex. Finex is a real exchange, but their prices are not fucking real. Anyways. That sort of stuff is actually more bullish in nature as well, just because there's a lot more to be gained by liquidating those people and forcing upwards momentum than there is to just head down and hand them the money. So overall, I do think that just another component of the underlying market dynamics suggesting that it's still actually be a little bit bullish here. I do think that we have a little bit more to go. Okay, so let's go on over into the weekly. Let's see. Here's my Bitstamp chart. Yeah, overall, weekly looking fine. We do have. Whoops. Hey, get off. Hey, what the fuck's this? Hey, what are you doing over there? There we go. How about that? Alrighty, so we do have weekly moving averages cross the upside right over here. The red 10 simple, the yellow 21 exponentials. Again, just a lower period cross the upside of a higher period, telling you about the overall trend strengthening as this consolidation happens right over here. For the simple moving average people, they're probably looking at the 50, which is going to be represented by the red right now. And all of them, everyone was looking for this area to sell off. Note, when you gather price action like this around a major moving average, that's going to be bullish. Just like, if it was the opposite way, it would be bearish. And we broke it up, and just another kind of thing pointing around that 5350 to 5400ish area as being a strong base if Bitcoin were to come back down from a higher time frame perspective. So if Bitcoin were to have a big retracement, I'd kind of be angling my cannons towards this area on first pass for a nice bounce and potential just amazing trade to begin with. And if that area does fail, then yeah, we can talk about much lower, maybe like 42, 4300. But for right now, Bitcoin's way above that area. And on top of that, I do want to speak speak directly to this as well. For all the shit that I give the Trollinger bands, this is why I follow them sometimes for the trending moves. And we were looking at this for the past couple weeks, where Bitcoin's been trading outside the top Trollinger bands. We had a little bit of a fake out right here, but no follow through. More importantly, Bitcoin has not taken out the prior weekly low for months and months. And right now, last week we closed above the critical zone of 55.50, and that was my trigger for saying, hey, I'm looking for a continuation overall, and that's exactly what we're getting right now. And I'm not saying these things to sound arrogant or like I'm cool or like I called it, so I'm precise and I'm precision and all this bullshit. No, fuck that. I'm doing this so that you can just see over time how these things work, and then you can do it for yourself and be autonomous. And that's that's basically what this channel is all about, man. Giving you the fucking keys. Otherwise, you're always going to be dependent on something, and that's not, at the end of the day, that's probably not the way that you want to live your life. Anyways, who am I to be the judge of that to begin with? But that's the kind of people that I speak to on a channel like this. Anyways, let's go over to the monthly. Again, monthly, same sort of thing. Closed above the 21, continuation. No more complicated than that. No more complicated than that. Again, this is why I use moving averages. We noticed that overall things were changing when Bitcoin took out the 50 exponential right here at 3,900 in March. Right, that was the impetus for me putting on this trade. And again, if Bitcoin was going to close below it, I would have put on a major short looking for 2,000 or low 2,000s. But instead, we took it out to the upside, so I started long, even though I was bearish at the time. Again, not trading. Again, I just want to show that I don't trade my opinion. I trade the technical analysis. And then we head on up much further than where my target was. My target was like 46 to 4,700. Nope, we got all the way to 5,000, and then we regained the 21. And same thing right here. But here's the thing: while I am talking about a lot of things, a lot more bullish things right now, I want to be very clear in stating this. Bitcoin still is not in an uptrend on the monthly, and this is the one that governs the overall malaise of Bitcoin. This is the one that matters most. And, well, I mean, until you get like 20 years of history and we can use the quarterly, but Bitcoin's pretty far away from that right now, and this is the best that we got. So as long as we are below about 7,700 and still haven't created a higher low, this is still a downtrend. We need both a higher high and a higher low. We have neither of them right now. All we've had is downtrend, lower lows, and lower highs, which is bearish in nature. And I just want to show the perspective of this from the higher time frames, that hey, we're dealing with big numbers here, so don't let it confuse you, don't let it mislead you that even if Bitcoin were to rally another $1,000 from here, if Bitcoin rallied another $1,000 today, it would still not be in an uptrend technically on the monthly. On all other time frames, yes, uptrend, that's great, but when we're talking about long-term type shit, the monthly is what I want to be looking at, and you can see very clearly that the monthly has a lot of work to do. So if you are kind of foaming at the mouth, understand that this is a long-term game, and at some point Bitcoin will come back down and set a higher low, even if you are bullish, even if you are thinking that the low is in. So that's going to scare everyone, and everyone's going to get bearish on that, I'm sure. Even if it might actually be a legitimate time to get bearish. I do like to say this, as far as judging whether the overall low is in or not, I think fundamentally you can make a very strong case for it. I've shown that in the long-term analysis playlist. Definitely go check that out if you want the full explanation of that. Just an hour of talking about long-term shit. From a technical analysis standpoint, I'd say that's certainly a lot less likely, but still kind of up in the air. From a technical analysis standpoint, I mean, if the monthly gets into an uptrend, there's no fighting at that point. Even getting above 6,000 is incredibly impressive and is worthwhile, but it's not necessarily going to get you all the way there. Although many other things that I look for at the very least continuation, are present. So it's a delicate balance right now. Anyways, let's go check out CME's trading at about a $20 premium right now. And again, CME is looking fine to me. The big tell was on Friday when we regained the 200 exponential moving average, and just ever since then, we had a couple retests of this area, but that's completely fine. Looking at CME Stokes, daily Stokes, still headed up, still headed erect, and looking fine to me, man. Yes, it is in the critical zone, but it can stay in the critical zone for a long time. Daily RSI, going to be creating some divergence the next time that we put in a local high, but how much damage can be done before that happens? I mean, a lot of damage can be done before that happens. So again, when we're talking about a time frame like this, the signal hasn't been had just yet. I'll put it that way. It's actually nowhere near happening. Well, it's not that it's nowhere near happening. It's definitely closer than it was yesterday. But again, a lot more damage can be done before that actually does give a legitimate signal. Okay, what about the weekly on CMEs? Yeah, CME is going to be taking out the 50 exponential. And again, just another thing that we were talking about with price action being, consolidating alongside a major moving average, likely to break, very likely to break. But again, another cause for caution here because weekly Stokes are getting way fucking up there. Something that, I really would like to see, at some point in time. There's going to be a big warning signal when those cross down, as they did in December 18th of 2017 at about $20,000 price per Bitcoin. So again, it's another warning signal saying, hey, this is not the time to get greedy. This is the time to be taking in profits. If you've been riding this position up, it's been a damn good move. Yes, I do think that it has some more to go, but I wouldn't get too greedy right here. This is not the time to be greedy. Speaking of, let's go check out GBTC. GBTC closing the day up as well. Again, I don't think that this one's following, or I think it's neither following nor leading. It's kind of like doing its own thing. But hey, above the 377, consolidating above there, did kind of close the Jesus Christ dildo, which can be a signal of indecision, perhaps even reversal. But daily Stokes still headed up. I think that this is probably just fine. It's just disgusting, ugly OTC bullshit. I mean, this thing is. I do not understand why I would want to trade this thing, man. But fair enough. I guess there are some advantages to it. But weekly continuation, catching the 50 exponential and then up. We've been looking at this for a while, and I do think that this one has some more to go. Okay, cool. Let's get back on to Mr. Bitcoin. Did I say everything that I want to say on Bitcoin? Let's look at the 3-day Jewel actually, because there's going to be another big signal at some point that is really going to cause caution for some pretty bad pullbacks, I would imagine. Some pretty aggressive pullbacks. Sorry, just checking my phone because there's weird shit on there. What the fuck? Even it's in different languages now. It's like it's impossible to understand. It's impossible to understand. Anyways, okay, so 3-day Jewel, right? And the reason why I'm paying attention to this is because each and every time we get a signal on the 3-day Jewel, especially for both sides, both the buy and the sell side, these have been major, massive trades. It's actually called the lows both times in Bitcoin's history, right here in 2015 and so far in 2019. But when it flashes red, it typically calls a pretty nasty pullback. I mean, typically to the tune of like 30 to 40%, starting up with this guy right over here. What is that, about 40%? Then this guy right over here, 40% right over there. Then we got another one right over here, about 30%. Then we got another one right over here, another 30%. You get the idea, right? And the thing is that when this light blue oscillator when the light blue oscillator gets in the critical zone and then flashes red in the background and gets a negative slope, that's when those, nasty moves are called. But you'll notice that these really nasty moves were when the light blue got extremely deep into this territory, like around an 88 to a 90 marker. And the last time that we actually did this, the last time that we dipped our toesy-woesies in this area, we didn't get too far. We got to about an 82 read, which we only have one other time with Bitcoin actually having a similar kind of setup, and it's right here. And you see that we just flash red in the background for a second. We get up actually a little bit higher to 83 and a half. And we have kind of a similar reaction, right? Bitcoin actually does play out a little bit of down right here, about a 10% down move, 10.5% down move, and similar thing right over here. When we actually got the signal, we played out about a 12 or so, about 11.5% down move right over here. But look at this, back in this other example, yes, Bitcoin did come down 10%, but the real move was right over here. And on the oscillator, we do see it kind of pick up the pink support and then get walked up. So this is the next big thing that I'm looking for. And if you have access to the Jewel, that's exactly what I want to have. That's exactly what I want to have on my eyes. We do see the light blue start to actually get a positive slope once again. So it is catching wind of this pink and it is being supported by it. So as much as this pink walks it up, I'd imagine that somewhere around this region, if you have access to the Jewel, I'd be looking for a potential massive sell-off. But remember, this is a 3-day dildo time frame. A lot of damage can be done. A lot of damage can be done before that even becomes a legitimate reality. I mean, each and every tick is 3 days worth of price action. We could move up to fucking 6,600 before that even becomes, even a point of consideration. So again, just another thing saying, hey, be cautious. From a higher time frame, be cautious, but I don't think it's over just yet. I do not believe it's over just yet. Anyways, so let's go check out Mr. Beaterall, the other top shitcoins, which I admittedly got some shit for that the other day. Hey man, when I call things shitcoin, it's just a term of endearment. I don't mean anything by it. you know, I don't really care for most I don't really care for most of the things in this market, but that doesn't mean that I hate everything, and I'm not naive to think that everything's going to go to zero or anything like that. I think there's going to be some extremely successful altcoins, aka shitcoins, but I'm still going to call them shitcoins just because it's easier to say, man. And for the most part, it's true. Anyways, daily right here for Mr. Buterol did close above the 200 exponential, and I am looking for continuation on this. I do believe that the 200 is going to become support now, right around 167.5 on BitMaxCo, and we likely see this one take another leg up. To me, this one's just been getting walked up as well, as we do see these two trend lines, you know, working off of each other, and I believe that we're about to get another move and probably create another similar thing, you know, on a move to like maybe 179, 180-ish area. Technically, there is a measure move on this overall flag to be made, and that points us all the way up to about $200. Although I'm a little bit more hesitant on that one. Mr. Buterol just kind of seems a little bit weaker in general, but I do think that this one wants to follow through and have some more upside. Daily Stokes looking fine to me, looking absolutely great, actually. Daily RSI, yeah, looking good too, constructive in this area, so I do like that. What about weekly? Weekly also looking fine, you know, just rounding off the 21. I think that this is actually going to cross over for a bullish cross. We're going to get a move much higher. Again, you know, is it going to move without Bitcoin? You know, how much more does Bitcoin have, and how much more does Mr. Buterol have? I'd say that Mr. Buterol probably has a lot more potential on this one. And overall, you know, daily, weekly are bullish. What about 4 hour? Yeah, 4 hours kind of bullish as well. Maybe another move back over to 176, 177-ish area. Something like that would make a little bit of sense. But overall, this consolidation, I do believe, wants to break ultimately to the upside. We do see a little bit, you know, around those prior highs. Let's go check out Mrs. Litecoin. What's she doing? This beautiful shitcoin, you beautiful bitch, you. Yep, and picking itself up as well, following the rest of the market. I do think that the lower time frames, 4 hour, probably wants to pump back up to 76.5, a little bit higher than that, maybe 77. Daily catching its win as well. Yeah, and, you know, it's going to fall through its mark. And this is why I say, hey, whatever I say for insert, you know, random fucking shitcoin here, it's likely just going to follow whatever the majors are doing. Which Litecoin is a major, but she's just not leading right now, and you know, I probably shouldn't call Mrs. Litecoin a shitcoin, but she's a beautiful bitch, which she's very powerful and independent, and has moved on her own before, but right now not leading, just following. And I do think that this one does come back up and tag, you know, like daily's bullish. It wants to come back up to like 78, maybe a little bit higher. Weekly catching wind of the 10 simple. And I do think that if we can actually take out the prior week's high at 81.5, we're gonna see about the $91, $92-ish area. Overall from a higher time frame perspective, so all time frames working together, and I do like that. Let's go check out traditional markets really quick. We do see SPY kind of closing on its low yesterday, and I do think that this is going to turn into a rejection. Is what it looks like. We did hit back up and hit that 289.5 target. Actually almost to the T. All right, finally got a fucking heartbeat on SPYs. And I do think that this one comes back down to the prior low at 286, and then we see actually a little bit lower. 283 to 282 is kind of the next big territory I'd have. Sorry, is this 283? 283 to 281 actually. From a higher time frame perspective, yeah, somewhere in this region would look about right. We do have to still break 286 support, but I do think that does happen. Weekly has come back down and tested the 10 simple. So far, the reaction has not been too good with 2 days left to go. And looking at the weekly Stokes, I do think that we do actually break this to the downside, and look at where the 21 exponential is, right around 281. So I'd be looking for a much more sizable bounce there. We did get the bounce off of the 286-ish area, but only $3, $3.50, you know, not super crazy, but also not really expected to be. No, I shouldn't say that. You can't have expectations in this game, but I do think that this one comes down a little bit lower. What about the daily? Yeah, daily has some pretty nasty bearish evidence. What about the weekly? Not really too much, but weekly is also going to be losing the exponential here. So I would like to see the weekly RSI come back down to the neutral zone and kind of test that area. Regardless of you're bullish or if you're bearish, I do think that this one wants to cool off a little bit. Now, here's the thing. Does this have bad implications for Bitcoin? Because, in my opinion, there's a lot of similarities between these two. And I know that the crypto anarchists absolutely hate this, but, you know, just judge this for yourself. Bitcoin and traditional markets, I do believe, are both considered risk-on assets. Obviously, Bitcoin a lot more of a risk-on asset from like a traditional standpoint, and they seem to trade together actually. You see Bitcoin in an uptrend, well, basically all of 2013 to 2014, right over here. That was the Mt. Gox shit. And then Bitcoin from 2014 to 2015, basically going sideways to down during the bear market. Well, what was SPY doing during that time? It was consolidating as well. It was actually during this correction. Then both of them in about 2016 start going parabolic to the upside. Bitcoin puts in its top right over here, end of 2017. SPY puts in its top in January of 2018. And then, so basically around the same time, they both come down on this first spike down and base together. Then they pop back up and put in their highs right here at the same time, pop back down again, make lower lows at the same time. Then we pop back up, and Bitcoin goes into a sideways consolidation while SPY goes into kind of an upwards consolidation, making a higher high to be fair, but not really doing anything crazy. Then they both break down once again, end of 2018, almost at the same time right over here, putting in the lows basically at the same time as well. And what's SPY doing right now? Is it putting in a local high? I mean, it is putting in a local high, but if it's putting in like a legitimate reversal, that's when I start to get a little bit more apprehensive about Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin, you know, was just rallying up as well, catching a little bit of wind of that. Bitcoin starts heading down. That's not going to be too damn good. And funnily enough, just as I kind of leave it right here, the weekly moving averages for SPY actually line up really well with Bitcoin. Funnily enough, it actually does work really well. I think that's, you know, that's obviously just you know, just by luck of the draw with the way that I was kind of interpolating these two. But maybe if I put this on log scale, it actually will show it. Nope, it's nowhere near. So fair enough. There goes that idea. Thought you found the Da Vinci Code, and then not at all. Anyways, okay, cool. So we spoke about all of that. Let's go check out Dixie as well. I do want to see what Dixie's doing. And Dixie, another thing that's kind of contra to Bitcoin, right? And Dixie was in about a 3-year downtrend from 2016 to end of 2018. Well, Bitcoin was in a 3-year uptrend for that time. Then Bitcoin puts in its highs, been low ever since. Dixie puts in its lows, been higher ever since. So I do, and these do, obviously trade against each other, right? It's Bitcoin versus the dollar, not Bitcoin versus whatever, you get what I'm saying. My point is that Dixie looks a little bit more, and sorry, this is the dollar index. Dixie's looking more bullish to me. Looking to me like, it's above all major moving averages. Put on the drawing tools, we do see it is approaching, or sorry, it did kind of take out this major resistance right here. We are approaching, we are kind of basing off support right now, but overall, I'd be bullish on Dixie, which does make it a little bit more difficult to be bullish on Bitcoin like longer term. So I just do want to show that this is a time to be a little bit more cautious. Although, yes, I do think that Bitcoin has a little bit more to go. I would be, I'd be securing profits if you've been having a good week, if you've been having a good month, you've been having a good last couple of months to the upside. Then fuck yeah, man. Like I said, just for full transparency, I will keep this position open for a while, but I will look to close it relatively soon. It's very small what's left over. I really wanted to close most of what I had because I don't really even on a streamer account. I know it's just a streamer account, but it is real money, so I don't want to I want to treat it like a real account. So I will cover that, especially when I'm not going to be at the computer too much. Okay, what else do we want to look at? Let's go look at Cardano. Let's go look at the other top shitcoins. What do we have here? Cardano headed down. Oh, nice, beautifully into our blue box territory, right around 1,030. Spike low, not bad. And I do think that this one probably does try to bounce here a little bit. But ultimately, very, very bad chart. Longer term probably does come back down to its prior lows, but again, this thing is just another lower high in the series of overall lower highs. Know that this is also not the US dollar chart. We can look at the US dollar chart, but I mean, I should actually be consistent with that because I think it is better. But U.S. dollar chart's bearish as well. US dollar chart wants to break through this support, and we're going to see some similar to what we saw on the Satoshi chart. I'd say back down to about 5.5 cent, maybe even 5 cent even. Over time, again, just it's a downtrend, just lower highs and lower lows. Nothing bullish about that. Looking at it daily, yeah, does it try to bounce here? I mean, we've had a lot of bounce attempts actually. It's not looking good, man. It's not looking good. I would stick with the 5 support. Send support for longer term. Shorter term, I don't really have a strong opinion on this. I don't think it trades all that much to begin with, but I guess it does look a little bit more bearish here than not. So all time frames bearish, but I have a hard time. It's been beat up so much already that it would feel a lot better to actually just get a little bit of a pop first. But anyways, can't have it your way always, right? BNB came down to our $19.50 level and bounced off there. I do think that it actually looks like it wants to come back down and give it another pass. But do I think that it breaks it just yet? I don't. This is some bizarre price action here. I don't think that it breaks it just yet. I do think that this $19.50 support is going to be a little bit more resilient than what we've seen thus far. But I do think that lower time frames are kind of setting up for another move back down to test it about 1980-ish area. Weekly support looking fine to me still. Right around the 10 simple, and got a long ways to go, and that's really what I'd be judging it off of. It's like unless we close a daily dodo below 1980, then I wouldn't be getting too bearish on it. Now, if we do close a daily dodo below 1980, then yes, we will likely go much lower towards 17 and a half. Confluent, actually, weekly support's much lower than that. But again, I give it the benefit of the doubt until then. Zcash. Trying its best here, man, but it's really struggling. I mean, getting rejected by the 10 simple like this, I mean, we're setting up for a move probably back down to $55. Let's go to a lower time frame. Lower time frames actually probably have some bullish divergence. Yes, they do. Probably does pop back up and test a little bit higher. So lower time frames pop up higher. Higher time frames bearish. But then again, I have to be consistent with what I say about the shitcoins, right? In that, with Bitcoin, if I think Bitcoin's going to be a little bit more bullish and has a little bit more to go, well, probably these things follow as well. So, I give the nod to Bitcoin here. Bcash, going to be hitting my $300 target really soon, I'd imagine. Probably sometime today. And I do think that this one breaks it out to the upside. I think that it's kind of, it's strong. It's up there with actually Mr. Buteral and Litecoin and obviously Bitcoin as far as like strength of charts go. Again, not a commentary on the fundamentals or on the actual project. I know that there's a lot of hate with regards to that, and probably a lot justifiable, but fair enough. As far as charts go, though, it's one of the better ones, that's for sure. Daily Stoke still up and at 'em. As soon as 300, or sorry, it's really like 296 breaks to the upside, I'd be looking for a move back up to 335 and probably beyond after that. Weekly's going to start to look pretty damn good. Tron Cash, what's Tron Cash doing? Hey, I think did it hit our 2.7 cent target? Nope, not yet, but I do think that it does. Ooh. Actually, it got rejected from the 200 exponential yesterday. Huh. I do think that it does take it out. I'd be more bullish on this than not. Looking at the daily, fine. Weekly, fine as well. The only way that I get bearish on this is if we close the daily dodo below 2.47 cent. If we do that, then yes, I'd be looking for another move back down here to test 2.28. But I do think that catches a win with the rest of the market and tries a little bit higher. Neo Cash, what's Neo do? Neo getting rejected as well, not following the rest of the market, actually. That's not a good sign. Looking at the weekly, getting rejected as well. I mean, weekly looks like it wants to take a nosedive down to 850. I think, this one does look bearish, to be fair. I struggle with calling this one bearish while I see kind of bullishness in some of the other ones. Maybe we're going to see like actual bifurcation in the market, which we really haven't seen just yet. Like prolonged bifurcation, meaning like, multiple assets moving in different directions, contra to each other. So yeah, I mean this one I would be more bearish on, but if we can close a daily dodo above 980, then I'd be looking for a move back up to like 1050. But looks like the downside's a little bit more likely in this one. EOS, I'd be looking for some upside here, probably back up to ultimately like 530, a little bit north of that maybe. Weekly looks okay. Definitely one of the stronger ones as well. 4 hour looks like it wants to rally back up to 520, 523. So lower time frames bullish, higher time frames looking like they want to be a little bit more bullish as well. If this thing does break down, support's right around 469. Should we take a look at the euro? I guess why not? We're here. Euro lower time frames probably up. Do I stick with that? Yeah, lower time frames probably back up to test 112. Ultimately, I would like to see a move back up to 112 and a half. Before resummation of prior trend. It's difficult. The weekly is bearish, the monthly is bearish, but with it, the longer that they stay down around this area without breaking, the more and more likely it becomes that we push back up. And I think that's kind of I think that's what's going to happen now. Kind of overstayed your welcome in this area. It's starting to look a little bit more like a throwover. Ripple Me Nipples Cash over here is going to follow through with the rest of the market. Are you strong or weak? I mean, it's definitely on the weaker side. Jesus Christ, man. Definitely on the weaker side. Just can't, below all major moving averages. Do you see daily stocks getting weak as well? Actually crossing the downside along the way. if I had to say something, I would be bearish on this, but I don't feel comfortable being bearish on this when I'm bullish on the others. 31.5 cents still seems like a legitimate target to me, believe it or not. 31.5 cents, somewhere around here. And then we'll kind of rejudge it from there. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Mr. Monero, what's Mr. Monero doing? Again, another one of the stronger ones. I do think that this one did just regain the 200 exponential moving average, and we're getting ready for a move up here. Probably next move towards 77 bucks, and maybe, and then if we do take out that area, then I'll be looking higher at 81.5. Definitely one of the better charts, better looking charts, I should say. Stellar, what's Stellar doing? Weak as fuck. Jesus Christ, man, making new lows along the way. Jesus Christ. No fucking rest for this one, man. I really dislike being short in this area, though. This is the weekly right here. We're actually below the 200 simple. I don't like being short in this area, but holy fuck, man, this is a disgusting chart. This is just another lower high. Just another lower high. I mean, I would be looking for a bounce in this region. I'm not looking to short this area, but I'm also not really looking to buy it anytime soon. A lot of people talking about bullish divergence on something like this. There's no such thing as bullish divergence when you keep on making lower lows. You know, it's not going to work like that. Your indicator's going to lie to you. Again, don't get caught up in the fucking Investopedia explanations of things. 4 hours bearish, daily's bearish, weekly's bearish, but I mean, I just have a personal rule that I do not short this area until we actually confirm below. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Anyways, get back on to Mr. Bitcoin and wrap this bitch up, because I gotta move, man. I gotta move. Okay, so 4 hour, about 2 hour. What's the highest time frame closing? Yeah, 3 hours gonna be closing pretty damn soon. 51 minutes and 6 seconds. We're likely to get some continuation here. I do think that 62 to 6400 is where the target's gonna be before a little bit more of a sizable pullback. Looking at well, how else would I judge this? I mean, it's really back down to the 2-day. As long as we're above the 200 simple, I'm just generally bullish from this time frame perspective. From lower time frames, I'd be using this area right here to kind of judge. This area right here, right around 59.70 to 59.50. This will likely act as a base for Bitcoin, but for right now, I just see continuation, man. I just see continuation, and again, next target probably somewhere in this thick high value node, somewhere between about 62 to 64, I would say. Like I said, I won't be on later today. In fact, I'll try my best to be on as much as I can. So if you do need to reach me, just understand that it's probably not going to be too damn soon, because I need to set up internet, I need to set up my place, I need to set up my new streaming studio and all that stuff. So it's going to take a little bit of time, and I do apologize for the inconveniences, but work has to be done for the better. And with that said, I'm going to leave you off right now. Been an absolute pleasure to speak with you on this last video from Helsinki, Finland. I want to wish you well. I want to wish you a very happy and profitable and safe and SAFU the rest of your Thursday. I'll be back on as soon as possible, as soon as I can. Until then, I want to wish you well and take care.